One of the great fighters of his era, Winky Wright, coming off close to a 4-year layoff. What's he got? How long will it take to get back if he can? And we're underway.
It will be interesting to see and look early to see whether Winky Wright is active. They think the way to beat Peter Quillin, he and Dan Birmingham, is by hitting him often. They say nobody has been touching Quillin regularly with punches. Quillin has some defensive issues. And by the way, if you're wondering, on the back of his head, that's the flag of Cuba, where, of course, his father was born. Quillin is by nature a counterpuncher. Must be interesting for Winky Wright after almost a 4-year layoff now to be back in the ring again.
He said it will take him some time, probably harder, he said, to get started than it will be to finish.
Yeah.
Just to see what Quillin has to offer. Relax. Allow himself to remember, almost, Al.
Yeah, that's a good point.
How to fight at this level.
And remember, Winky Wright is not even though some people have accused him of not being an exciting fighter, he is not a fighter who gives you tons of movement, just enough movement. Now, there's the jab from Wright. They feel they're going to be able to land that effectively a lot in this fight.
As for Kid Chocolate, he says there's no way in the world that I'm not supposed to take on a 40-year-old like Winky Wright. I'm supposed to beat him at this point in my career. He's 40, and that's why I have no problems accepting this challenge. Everybody is telling me that this is going to be a tough fight, but it's a fight that if I'm going to become a champion, I have to win, and I should win.
And early on here in round one, Peter Quillin has been more active and a little bit more accurate than I think you would have expected early in this fight. And Winky Wright has not been able to land very well.
Step back, step. Watch the hit, okay?
So at least at the beginning for Peter Quillin, things are starting out well. But again, we would have expected Wright to have some issues early.
I like how relaxed Peter Quillin looks to start this fight. And I would imagine for a fighter, any fighter, let alone a 40-year-old fighter, to take close to 4 years off, his timing is what he's going to try to have to reestablish. Right now, his legs look a little stilted.
Yeah, this is not a great beginning for Winky Wright. He's not been able to put his punches together and has been mostly defensive.
Step back. Go to step back. Let's go.
And you can see Peter Quillin pretty relaxed, winking at somebody at ringside. Is he looking for a date or what was going on there? He's single.
Yeah. Right. Step back.
End of the first round, scheduled for 10 in the middleweight division. Kid Chocolate, the youngster. Winky Wright, the old man.
Well, for him, he's got to punch first in this fight, and he hasn't done that so far yet. Go up the middle, that's the place you can hit Peter Quillin. Don't throw wide punches. The straight right, or the straight left, excuse me, is the punch that he wants to land as much as he can in this fight. And for Quillin, I don't think wide punches will get the job done. He's got to stay balanced, and he's done a much better job of that already in round one than I have seen, and he has not squared himself up one time yet. That's Eric Brown leading in from the Wild Card Gym, and of course you see the very familiar Freddie Roach, who we will see in the next fight. We're working with Latif Coyote.
Good work. Good job.
Round two scheduled for 10. Middleweight special attraction. Kid Chocolate, Peter Quillin, undefeated, 26-0 in black. Winky Wright, a future boxing Hall of Famer, in the gray and red.
Peter Quillin, you mentioned Carl Froch earlier. He actually sparred a little bit with Carl Froch and also Anthony Durrell, two 168-pounders. Prior to this fight, they weren't his main sparring partners, but he went off on his own and sparred with those men just to challenge himself to see where he was at in comparison to people like that.
Winky Wright said the key to this fight will be his jab. I'm going to jab this young man from the start to the finish. It's going to confuse him. I'm going to frustrate him. Once that happens, he'll make a mistake, and I'll make him pay. He's never faced anybody that can punch like me. Well, that was 3 years ago. Close to 4. We'll see. if that Winky Wright shows up tonight. And Quillin jumping across the ring. Backing up. Last fight for Winky Wright, April of 2009. He lost a 12-round decision to southpaw Paul Williams. A spectacular night for Williams. Now one of the lights has gone out ringside. Outdoor venue, the Home Depot Center.
Well, we've had a little bit of a power outage here tonight because no one's been knocked down or out, and now we had a little bit of one in the actual lights, but
the lights that have gone out are the stadium lights, not the ring lights, according to our Jim Gray. Ooh, nice uppercut followed by a left hook by Quillin, catching Winky Wright coming in. And he acknowledges the nice combination by the young Pete Quillin.
a very tentative start for Winky Wright, not the one he envisioned.
He even said in his last loss, which was his last fight to Paul Williams, he said my timing was off. There were so many punches and bunches by Williams. Nice right hand as Quillin turned it over. All right, scoring with the straight left to the body, and that's the end of the second round. And Winky's wife, Pie, ringside with their children.
And that look tells you everything about what she thinks about the way things have begun here. She's a savvy woman. She's seen her husband box and knows about this sport. And obviously early on, not going quite the way he would have wanted, but she musters up some enthusiasm for the camera.
Wright telling us, I have to be offensive, set the tone and pace.
Good job, good job.
I'm 40 years old. I know it won't be the same early, but when I hit him, when he opens up, I'll be able to keep that same kind of pace that I'm looking for. Round 3.
Box.
Now, Winky Wright went to, oh, nice combination by Quillin. He went to the Athletes Performance Facility in Phoenix to help prepare himself for this fight for 1 month's time, where a lot of pro athletes go to work out. And he thought it was going to, he got him in very good shape for this fight. We'll see if that manifests itself.
1 month in Phoenix. Football, baseball, all different kinds of athletes work out at the Performance Center in Arizona.
More movement from Peter Quillin, and I think a little bit more guile in the ring than I think he normally shows. And he's slipping more punches. That left hand got in by Winky Wright.
Wright getting closer.
Quillin is, needless to say, as we've seen, you know, he's
Watch the head, Peter.
a character. You know, he's a colorful young man.
Very emotional young man. Broke down into tears during our fighter meeting with him yesterday when he rehashed his long road to getting here and some of the tough times that he faced.
Yeah, that was an extraordinary moment. It really was. And, you know, in this round, Winky Wright is now starting to get that jab in a little bit more. The last minute have been the best minute of this fight so far for Winky Wright.
Stop. Don't hold on to the rope, all right? Box.
Zach Young, your referee.
All right, break. stop and step back.
Again, a jab a moment ago by Wright. Subtle shift in this fight a little bit here.
Okay, stop. Let's make them step back, watch it. Okay. Box.
Uppercut landing for Quillin. Wright still pressing. Double left hook blocked by Winky Wright, and he gives the 26-year-old a smile.
Okay,
6 seconds to go in the third, scheduled for 10.
Okay. Box.
This is a middleweight special attraction.
Early on in the round, Peter Quillin had some success landing this nice right hand and then the hook. Nice combination, actually. There hasn't been much combination punching in this fight. But Winky Wright then kind of starting to get off offensively a little better, lands the straight left hand as Quillin is retreating. And the jab of Winky Wright was more effective in the last round as well as that one gets through. So the pace picked up a bit in that round, and I think Wright at least found some of his timing.
Let's go. All right. Keep the heat on this guy.